So here I am on the corner trying not to go to the liquor store, but going to the liquor store, sometimes calling my dealer afterwards. And um, I was on, they had me on Antabuse because I had a couple of DUIs and I learned how to drink on Antabuse. So
Oh my gosh.
I was drinking a handle of Skoal every night just to get to bed. You know, why? I don't know. There was some sort of crazy obsession. Maybe I felt bad for the things that I had done. Maybe I was just so wound up. Maybe I was just so used to blacking out that I didn't know how to sleep naturally anymore. But I'm drinking a handle of Skoal every night just to get to bed. And I've got a PO and I've got to meet with her. And so
How'd that go?
not super well. So I'm on Antabuse and I'm showing up to appointments with my probation officer, still blowing like zero point zero 0.01, zero point zero 0.02, 10 hours after I stopped drinking. I was drinking fatal amounts of alcohol every night. And needless to say, she wasn't very happy.
No, not at
And
all.
the first time she called an ambulance on me and I was so broke I refused them
Oh
because,
wow.
it's just part and parcel. Every night I was drinking this amount. I don't know why they were surprised. But the second time she told me that, I had to go to rehab. And she found a facility,
That would take you?
that would take me. Yeah. So there's these Salvation Army facilities. They're a 6-month program. You have to work for the Salvation Army when you're there. They're called the Salvation Army ARC programs, and they have a lot of problems. There's religious indoctrination there. They suggest but they don't demand that you adhere to Christianity. You have to go to like church services and stuff, and you have to work for them, and you have to go to Bible study. You know. There's a bunch of crazy rules that you have to follow. That's very hard to do when you've been living on the street or
Right?
living on your own, there and is discipline there always fair? Absolutely not. So it has problems, but it it's also a very, very good program. It's a 6-month program. It's totally free. You live there. You work for them. They feed you your meals. They get you the therapy you need. They send you to 12-step programs, and it's a safe haven. You know,
But you had to show up and do the work.
you have to show up and do the work. Yeah, absolutely. But it is a safe haven, and for me, it was a very, very effective program. It was exactly what I needed. I was sick of wetting the bed every night, and I was ready to do whatever it was going to take to get better. And so when I walked in that gate, the miracle kind of completed in a sense for me. I haven't had to drink or use since I walked in that gate. And
And this was after you were forced to go to
yeah,
rehab?
yeah. So I was forced to go to rehab. I only went to one rehab. So, and that's another thing. Like, a lot of people, a lot of new people new in recovery are worried about relapses. And like, are relapses something to be concerned about? Absolutely, absolutely. Um, I never got a relapse because I could never get a day clean. You know, that was just me, and I was ready when I got to that rehab again to do whatever it was going to take. So, but if you're new in recovery and you're worried about relapses, you had a relapse, don't freak out about it. Just throw the bag away. Dump the bottle out, get back on the horse, get back to therapy, get back to 12-step groups, get back to church, get back to doing whatever you're doing. Um, because again, like the best years of your life are ahead of you, and there's no reason to be wasting time drinking or using. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And so, I'm sorry. So, what was your previous question?
I don't even remember.
That's okay. I'm
I'm literally loving this story.
yeah,
I love I see a lot of the similarities too
yeah.
in the areas, but also some really unique nuances and differences that make it super awesome to see how everybody's addiction story is so different. But now, okay, so tell me about the life now.
Hold on. No. A little bit more.
Oh,
So
more, Kiki,
no.
go
I'm sorry.
ahead. By all means, lead
Just
into it.
so I'm a member of several 12-step fellowships, and I believe strongly in the 12-step recovery program. It's not for everybody, but for me, it was super effective. One thing I heard recently was, for the medicine to work, you have to believe in the medicine, and I think that's really true. And um, you know, a lot of people get hung up on this idea about God. And my sponsor is an atheist,
Oh, wow.
totally an atheist. But when I have a problem and I'll call him, he will give me the most Christian advice I have ever heard. Like
love that.
pastors and friends from church will be like, whoa, 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 you know, and just BS me. But my sponsor will say, you might not understand what you're going through right now, but everything happens for a reason. Just, you know, stay on the boat, hold on tight, white knuckle it through the season if you have to. I'm here if you need somebody to call. But, you know, like that, and that's Christian advice, right? Everything in its season. You know, there's a reason this is happening. God knows it, you might not know it, and that's okay. You can make it through, you know.
Wow.
And so again, I believe in the 12-step fellowships, whether you're an atheist, whether you're a believer, whether you just don't know. I really like them, especially in later recovery, because when I was first in recovery, I had a really solid idea about what I thought God was and what I believed, which was very, very different from all of my peers who were just coming into it, who kind of don't have an idea. But as I've like grown spiritually, as I've grown in my faith, I feel like the more you know you don't know, you know? And so I feel this 12-step program is so great because it allows for that. You know, like if I told my pastor that I was having doubts, he might judge me. He might treat me differently. But if I tell someone in the fellowship that I'm having doubts, they'll be beside me. They'll help walk me through it. They'll tell me stories about their own life where they went through seasons of doubt and how they came out of it. You know, there's always support there, no matter what level you're at. And so again, that first time I ever went to a meeting, there was something supernatural that happened. And as I continue to go to 12-step meetings, the supernatural thing continues to happen.
That's awesome.
So where are we at now?
Tell me. Yeah, tell me.
I mean, my life is so wildly different than anything I could have ever hoped or imagined. I mean, okay. Here we go. So I'm in rehab, right? I graduated the program, and at the rehab, like we're talking a rehab facility with 100 men, right? Like most of them just came off the street. We're all sick people, in a sense, spiritually sick. We all have ideas about how the world works that might not be exactly healthy, right? And so the rule in the facility was the unspoken rule. If you like left some stuff sitting around, it was fair game to take. That's pretty much the rule. You kept your stuff, you kept your stuff locked up if you wanted to keep it, and if you left it sitting around, it got took. And that was the deal. So, is that right? No, but it's how it was.
And it eliminates the hardship of somebody stealing from you.
I mean,
It was fair game.
it's fair game, right? Yeah. So anyway, I graduated. I was still living there because they had a great aftercare program. And someone left like a backpack out, and the backpack had a dollar bill, some dryer sheets, and a Steelers watch. And now at the facility, you have to keep an inventory of all your personal items. So I knew I couldn't take the watch. So I took the dollar bill and the dryer sheets, right? Now listen, I'm allergic to dryer sheets. I don't like them. I don't like the way they smell, and they make me break out. So I'm not even going to use them. But I'm a sick person, right? And so you just take whatever's sitting around, and that's the life you live, right? As an addict. And I'm only, another thing about the program, it's a 6-month program, and I'm only, 6 months into my sobriety. I have a lot to learn. So I took this stuff. Well, somebody else took the watch, and they locked the house down, put the house on lockdown. Do you know what that is? No one can leave. No one can make any calls.
Wow, no.
And so, and they told everybody whose stuff it was. Now, I had been working the program with my sponsor and had a little inkling about personal responsibility, right? And I felt conviction, right? I felt, it is what I'm, and I don't want to say it's from the Holy Spirit, but dude, probably from the Holy Spirit, right? Like, I felt like if I wanted to be free, I couldn't live like this anymore. And the 12-step program has a great method for making amends to people. And I felt I was overcome with the desire and like the feeling of importance that I needed to go to this person and be honest with them about what I had done and give them their stuff back, restoration, right? And so the thing was, me and this person had never got along,
Oh
and
no.
taking someone else's stuff is absolutely against the rules, and would have gotten me kicked out. And I was in, I was at the end of my program, and by the time you're at the end of your program in this facility, you have a level of authority. So me and this person had never got along. He had never agreed with me, and I knew he was going to tell on me. And is that right? Yeah. And I don't fault him for that, because what he did was absolutely right. We need to hold each other accountable. Absolutely. And so I knew all of this was going to happen before I even went and talked to him. And I was like, God, if you want me to live right, you're going to have to take care of me. I have no plan after this, but I trust you to take care of me.
Wow.
And so so I went to the guy, gave him his stuff back, told him I was sorry, went to a meeting. They called me out of the meeting into the office, and I told him that I did take the guy's stuff, but I gave him his stuff back and I made an amends to him. And they said, Warren, that sounds really good. Don't go anywhere. And, they met and they decided to kick me out.
Wow.
And that was fine. I was comfortable at that facility, and the timing was perfect because God used it to push me into a new season.
Right.
And was that season easy? No. There was a guy that I know for a long time, and I just really appreciate his heart, who had told me, hey, when you leave the facility, if you need a place to stay, let me know. And I didn't want to move back in with my mom because that was kind of a toxic environment at the
Right.
time.
Too many memories there, or
and
triggers?
just I needed to be around a different set of people with different ideologies. And so I feel like, in retrospect, I feel like she might have supported me too much when I needed to get out on my own also. So a little bit of enabling, a little bit of memories, a little bit of some other reasons. And so I just thought living with this guy would be better. And, as I got kicked out of the facility, I had to stand across the street from the facility because I wasn't allowed on the grounds, and somebody came out and let me use a cell phone. So I called this guy and he came and picked me up, and so much of the justice system when it comes to DUIs and drug use, beats the addict down.
Right.
Like, for example, if you get in a DUI, your car gets towed to like one of these predatory tow lots where you have to pay like $400 to get it out of the lot. And if your tire's flat, you have to pay them to fix your tire. And it's $75 for every day that you're there. And so it makes it almost impossible to get your car back, right? And all of DUI legislation and the justice system involving GUIs is based around restriction rather than reincorporation. The system isn't built to help a drunk get sober. It's built to prevent a drunk from driving drunk again.
Right.
And so this guy who let me stay with him was just so kind and so caring. He took me to a plasma donation center so I could get $20-$40 or whatever to buy ramen so that I could have food to eat for the week, and did stuff like that, and just let me stay with him rent free for several months while I got back on my feet. Which would have been absolutely impossible if I had been on my own, if I hadn't had any family or friends.